studio. Put your phone down, Greg. Put your phone down, Gawain. Sit up. Straight shoulders.
Yes, Mum.
Shoulders.
Yeah.
Straight
yes,
shoulders.
Miss.
Yeah, right. Good. You're in the class of Alex now. Very nice. No, we just enjoyed having you both around on Friday. We did all go to the pub afterwards as well, which was also enjoyable.
Shocking.
Maybe it will happen again. I don't know. Who can predict? I got into a fight, obviously.
Clearly, you should see his face.
Yeah, Gawain lost his clothes and had to go to a charity shop. Again. But we just thought we'd do it all over. So here we go. I've got a sort of selection of stories here. Did I introduce them yet? Greg Swenson, Chair of Republicans Overseas, Gawain Towler, former advisor to Nigel Farage. I don't know if I got round to doing that.
I'm not a veteran this time.
G&G.
This is good.
Greg and Gawain.
Step up.
Right. Let's start off with the big news today. We haven't even spoken about this yet on the show. Is Jimmy Carter has died at the age of 100. Well before my time. In your time, though, I think. Was
Barely.
he good president? He did one term, didn't he? Good pres?
No, he was not.
I like this. When someone dies and normally have to go, they were really
I'm
great.
trying to be polite about it. But, you know, the best thing that happened to Jimmy Carter was Joe Biden. Because for a long time, he was considered the worst president in postmodern history. But now you have Joe Biden, who is clearly, I mean, any comparison between Biden and Carter, I think, is an insult to Jimmy Carter. He was a really good man. He was a religious man. He was a family man, evangelical Christian, served his country. He went to the U.S. Naval Academy. He enrolled in the academy during World War II, graduated right at the end, but served his country, a nuclear submarine engineer. So, you know, a good man, but he was not a great president, that's for sure.
What made him rubbish? What did he do wrong?
Well, he didn't really demonstrate great leadership. Some of the problems he inherited, to be fair to him, you know, the inflation was already in place. He made it worse. You know, it was a difficult time geopolitically. You had the Soviets were expanding all over the world. They invaded Afghanistan. Then you had the crisis in Iran, the hostage crisis, where the students basically took embassy employees hostage for over 400 days. And then released them the day of the inauguration of Ronald Reagan. So, I mean, so the difference between Carter and Biden is Carter inherited a lot of the problems. He didn't handle them particularly well, but Biden really created his problems, you know, opened the border on purpose, created the inflation. So Carter was facing a difficult, you know, a difficult term, whether he was good at it or not. He lost 44 states in 1980 to Ronald Reagan. For an incumbent president to only win 6 states is pretty shocking. But his post White House career, he made a decent legacy, mixed perhaps, but a decent legacy for himself. He was charitable. He built homes for, you know, he founded Habitat for Humanity. So he did some good things post White House.
He did the largest ever presidential pardon, which I think was probably the right thing when he pardoned those people who'd gone abroad to dodge the draft, the Vietnam draft.
Right.
Now, at the time, that was contentious, of course, but in hindsight, I think it was probably a good thing. But the Iran situation was awful, but he was a little bit like Ark Callahan. He inherited the disasters of the oil war of the early 70s and had to deal with the economic fallout of that. But what he did do in some ways is prepare the ground for the Reagan presidency. Because he was so bad, Reagan came in and had a lot of leeway to work with. And thinking of his post-presidential period, yes, the good man aspect, domestically, there was a lot of good he did. However, internationally, he made one of the most catastrophic mistakes of all time, which was basically stopping the attempt to stop North Korea to get nuclear weapons. He went to North Korea at the time that the American government were trying to find a way to block North Korea from getting nuclear weapons, and his appearance in Pyongyang stymied that attempt. And now we have a lunatic in Pyongyang with nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
and that's largely down to...
He accelerated the path to nuclear weapons.
That was a disaster.
And by the way, Bill Clinton was president at the time. You know, the same party.
By the way, he went to hospital, isn't he?
Yes, it's not a good day for Democratic presidents.
No, I guess not.
How is Bill? Do we know? Any updates?
I think he's left the hospital.
Oh, he's out, is he?
Yeah, so he's fine. But it was a real...
misanthropic obituary we're doing.
but it was a real
ways.
Insult to Clinton. You know, when Clinton was president and trying to negotiate and do something positive with North Korea, and then Jimmy Carter shows up with a CNN film crew and cuts his own deal. And so it was really, not only was it a horrible deal, but he should have never been in that position in the first place without permission from the president.
Like many Democratic presidents, it's their foreign policy that seems to stand up as their bad bits.
Yeah.
Admittedly, as a Brit, we only see their foreign policy. We don't really see what goes on internally and economically. But what we perceive is their foreign policy, and both, Carter's foreign policy, from the UK perspective, from a global perspective, was disastrous.
It was really bad news. And domestically, he also he failed to take price controls off of oil and gas. So that just made gas prices higher, gasoline and petrol prices higher. And so he could have done much better domestically. Now, he did start the deregulation process, which really
Reagan
paved the way for Reagan. Yeah.
But, I mean,
so he deregulated trucking and rails and air.
I feel like if I was going to do a headline for this misanthropic obituary, it's like, good man, rubbish president.
Yes.
But do you think what's interesting here, it's something that I think is sort of quite reflective on what we see going on today, is personality in politics. There's been this huge emphasis, hasn't there, that politicians need to be nice, that we're going to judge them if they've done this or that, and they have to say, I've gone to a Taylor Swift concert, I plait my kids' hair, look at me cooking dinner, rolling my sleeves up, I'm not even wearing a tie. And yet, you know, and everyone goes, oh, Donald Trump, psychopath, Nigel Farage, monster. And you talk about the foreign policy there, and again, it comes down to this idea that actually I don't care if the president is nice or knows how to bake cookies and gives his children, you know, a glass of milk in the morning and kisses them on the head at night. I just want him to make sure there's not World War III. And actually, it might help to be a bit of a maniac in doing that.
Starmer and the Mauritian situation is what you get when you're trying to be nice to the world. It's a colossal error, colossal mistake. It is not the business of a British Prime Minister or an American President to be nice to the rest of the world. It's the business of them to make the world safe. And you don't do that by cuddling and saying anything you want, Gov.
Now, talking about making the world safe. Joe Biden apparently said he still believes he could have beaten Trump if he stayed. Kind of sounds like he's regretting not competing not competing in that election. Mate, you wouldn't have even been awake for it. I mean,
I'd have loved the second debate.
I know, right?
That would have been a trip. I mean, you know, he's just delusional. And what happened too is he might be delusional because his inner circle was protecting him so much because of his cognitive issues that they weren't showing him the polling, even internal polling. So anytime a poll came out showing Trump up 5 points, his inner circle made sure he didn't see it.
Have you seen Goodbye Stalin, the film?
I have not.
Oh, it's a
I saw it in a charity shop on DVD.
This old lady wakes up after a coma after the end of the GDR, and her family, and she would be really upset if she discovered that, in fact, East Germany had fallen. And so therefore her children fake videos about how wonderful the GDR's going on, and they basically, she doesn't realise, she's in her flat and she doesn't realise it's 4 years after the fall of the wall. And it's the same sort of situation for Biden.
I must see it. And Biden, he also reminds me of the book, I forget the author's name, but Peter Sellers played him in the movie. It was called Being There, where they found a learning challenged gardener in a senator's house who just died, and they made him the next candidate.
Right.
And they just created this whole illusion, which is really what they did for Kamala and Joe, both of them. But
rubbish candidates,
both were going to lose.
But they were just, you know, sort of puppets, like ventriloquist dolls.
Yeah, but nice.
Oh, nice, always nice.
Always nice. Biden, of course, always likes a young person. There's that.
Oh, Gawain, come on! I don't want to be off. I mean, you know, I was hoping to get to 2025, like getting into serious
without
trouble.
Another fine.
I think you've just sort of stymied my chances. Do you think Joe Biden was so demented he didn't know he was demented? Is that like we've reached that level probably with him? Oh well. Listen, Greg, you've got to explain to me this battle going on over H-1B visas. That to me sounds like a type of pencil. What's an H-1B visa? Who wants it? Who does it? And why are they fighting?
So those are visas that are designed for high quality, highly educated tech workers to enter the country, not coming in on a boat across the English Channel, not coming across the open border, you know, with Mexico. The idea is, let's bring in top-tier talent. It's been around for a while. It's useful. Elon Musk, in fact, had one when he was younger.
I was going to say, he's prime example coming from South Africa.
It's not perfect. It's prone to abuse. You know, you have some workers that are not qualified, but they juice up their resume or whatever, and they're able to exploit that particular visa. It's a very small number. What did you tell me?
65,000 people per annum, of which Tesla has 760, I think.
Right.
But of that 65,000, it's a 3-year visa, short term. You can apply for another 3 years, and you can, after those 2 sections, apply for a green card.
Yeah.
But it's 65,000 in a country of 350 million.
So
That's about the same level.
Who's annoyed about these things? Who says that we shouldn't have them? Why is there this?
Because the sort of far right,
the Steve Bannon-esque
MAGA crowd,
hard right MAGA,
that are just anti-immigration, period.
Full stop.
Whereas most Republicans are anti-illegal immigration.
100%.
And I think even most Americans.
And the big question is, of course, whose side is Trump going to take?
Well, Trump has already gone publicly in backing Musk.
Yeah.
Right.
And Vivek.
He told the New York
thing.
Post that he likes it.
I kind of feel like with the American dream, it's built on that, and it's the same as Britain.
Talent.
I've always said,
We've always said,
if
bring
we've
talent
got
in.
the best universities, if we get the top sort of nuclear physicists from Czech Republic wanting to come here,
let them stay.
roll out the
What
red
Starmer
carpet.
should be aware of, and what our government should be aware of, as senior people in the Trump's incoming cabinet have been talking about this soft pencil visa and saying that Britain is a place that they will be looking for these top quality immigrants from. For that, in that 65,000, they are looking to our city. They're looking to our tech sector, biggest tech sector in Europe.
Yeah.
No,
this
they're looking
is it.
to our talented people.
People out there don't
And they are
realise that
after
the UK
us.
is a world leader in fintech, a world leader in AI.
And America is looking with very, very hungry eyes at the talent here. Now, if you were to set up...
Dear Elon,
if you were
I don't know how to operate Windows Vista, but I wouldn't mind coming.
Yeah, well, but if you were a very talented tech type person,
Which I am not, alas.
but if you were, and you wished to set up a business, would you do it in London?
Oh, no, I'd be gone.
Of course not.
Or would you do it in the States?
Oh my goodness!
If the
there's been
States is willing to have you.
Yeah.
But not just anywhere in Europe. There is no .com anything out of Europe.
precisely.
Everything is everywhere else.
So, it is ill-behaved. We have to be on our mettle, not to lose. We talk about wanting the talent to come to Britain. That's not what's happening. Not with these NIC. Not with these. With the budget. We're going to be losing talent to America.
Yeah,
That's already happened in the health sector.
Young, ambitious, innovative people want to move to America.
Yeah.
There's
It's
an
already
appetite
happened in the
for
health sector.
risk-taking.
We're going to lose our fintech. We're going to lose those areas. We are actually still world leaders.
Yeah.
We're going to lose that because America is looking at us and saying, "Come on over!"
Well, there you go.
It's such a shame because there's so many smart people here, but it's the anti-business sentiment from both parties or both major parties.
As Elon Musk himself has said, right,